It's a big week for education, and we're going to let you know all about it tonight.
The Dan Yorke State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
By the way, Mercury is in retrograde. I have no idea what that means, but Lexi just told me that it was. We actually tried to start the show. I didn't even have a microphone on, so, you know, gear up. This could be a scary one. How's everybody? Good? Yes? Okay. Education, innovation. Some of you think it's kind of mumbo jumbo. We'll try to explain that it's not tonight with a leader in the education consultation, professional development type of thing, and some big events going on this week to explain it all. Okay? Good. Nice to have you aboard. It's been a hectic weekend for security and the like, and that starts our conversation on the rundown. Did I write that? Now that I think about it, uncertain terror? Well, terror brings us a level of uncertainty, kind of, sort of. This headline makes us feel a little bit more certain about it, though, because this suspect around midday today was actually nabbed out of what seems to be some incredible police work. And, of course, the suspect in Minnesota who pulled this stunt didn't make it out alive. Some might say thankfully. Here's the latest from CBS.
Emergency personnel loaded bombing suspect Ahmad Khan Rahami into an ambulance after a shootout with police in Linden, New Jersey. It happened hours after the FBI raided the 28-year-old's last known address in nearby Elizabeth. Sources say Rahami, a naturalized U.S. citizen from Afghanistan, was seen in surveillance video from Saturday's bombing in the Chelsea section of Manhattan.
We are extremely fortunate and grateful that nobody was killed.
The search for Rahami comes after a robot detonated a bomb in a trash can overnight in Elizabeth. It was one of 5 devices found near a train station.
The speculation from the Elizabeth Police Department is that they were not timed to go off, and so therefore, whether they were being investigated or followed, that they were disposed of in a garbage can in a very hasty manner.
Police also took 5 people into custody during a traffic stop in Brooklyn last night in connection to the explosion here in Chelsea. The FBI combed the Manhattan neighborhood collecting evidence Monday. Surveillance video shows people running for cover. After the pressure cooker bomb exploded Saturday night, 29 people were hurt. A second pressure cooker bomb was found 4 blocks away but did not explode. Earlier on Saturday, a pipe bomb detonated in the Jersey Shore town of Seaside Park before a charity run to benefit Marines and sailors. No one was hurt in that attack. Authorities say Rahami is a suspect in both the Jersey Shore and Chelsea bombings.
Of course, you know, over the weekend, we really didn't know much about this, and the temperament of the 2 candidates kind of came into play. It's a very short clip where Donald Trump was talking about the bombings before anybody really knew what happened.
Very tough, folks. We better get very, very tough.
Yeah, so that's the solution to everything. We got to get tough. Of course, Hillary Clinton had a more reserved approach.
It's always wiser to wait until you have information before making conclusions.
You know, since she's spoken twice, and I'm sure Donald has after we've had our midday recording of this program, the president in the midday today sounded presidential.
And finally, I want to take this opportunity to reassure the people in this city, this region, and Americans across our country that our counterterrorism and law enforcement professionals at every level, federal, state, and local, are working together around the clock to prevent attacks and to keep us safe.
You know, what's interesting about this whole thing is that there was a lot of citizen help in this investigation, it seems. I mean, you got to credit law enforcement on a federal, city, state level on both sides of the Hudson River for getting after this thing so incredibly quickly. What's really kind of interesting is that second bomb in New York that never went off and was found may have been nabbed by criminals or people who had criminal intent because there was a case and they were going to steal it. You know, but I'm like, oh. So even the bad guys might have helped in this particular situation. There's nothing funny about this, obviously, and my guess is we'll find that there was a neighbor or two or family member or somebody that may have been involved in this thing as well. Details to follow. This guy didn't offer himself up completely. He got into a shootout, got hit, and now he's in the hospital. Details as they, roll out. Stay tuned, right? 38 settlement. This just happened today. Curt Schilling with all of his bravado. I want to go to trial. I'm going to tell you the whole story. As with most of what he does, he is full of headline Commerce Corp settles. Of course, you've seen this video to the point where every time you do, you start to get nauseous. Here's Judge Francis Darrigan, the mediator, talking a little bit about the rationale for the settlement.
Certainly the most controversial, I suppose, from the public's point of view, would have been the assets of Mr. Schilling because of his celebrity and his success as a Major League Baseball player. But as of a meeting that I had with Mr. Carlotto and lawyers for Mr. Schilling last Friday, the state was satisfied that after reviewing all of the submissions by not only Mr. Schilling, but by the other 3 individual defendants, that this settlement was an appropriate one for the taxpayers of the state of Rhode Island.
You know, it should be pointed out that these 4 settlers, defendants who settled in this case, had an original $10 million insurance policy, cumulatively, because they were represented by the same insurance company. $10 million. We got 2.5. Why? Because they bled $7.5 million in legal fees. Now, look, I don't want to be a Monday morning quarterback, and I didn't follow the legal machinations of this thing all the way along. But you'd think, as we're trying to recover some money, that somebody on our side would have taken a look a little earlier on, made an evaluation, and said, you know what, eventually we're not going to get any water from this rock anyway, so maybe we ought to settle earlier and not drain $7.5 million of legal fees. You know who wins in these cases? Lawyers on both sides. Quarterback search. Speaking of winning, boy, the Patriots, you know, hung on yesterday. By the way, kept Giants 2-0. It's going to be a good season. The headline here is, you know, now listen, I watch this dispassionately because I'm a Giant fan. 2-0. This is kind of interesting because as I'm thinking after Jimmy's got 3 touchdown passes yesterday, that you got yourselves a little bit of a quarterback controversy. And of course, you know, Brady's got too much equity not to be able to walk right in Game 5, right? Well, guess what? Mr. Garoppolo went boom, and his shoulder might be really hurt, and so Jacoby Brissett has to come in, and he's got to figure that whole thing out, and Coach Belichick was very happy, I guess, with his performance.
The team did a lot of things well today. Obviously, there's a big momentum shift there at the end of the third, start of the fourth quarter. You know, but in the end, I thought we, you know, made enough plays. We'll do whatever we think's best with the team, and yeah, Jacoby's, look, he's been working for this for a long time. All the way back into the spring, all the way through training camp. He's got a lot of reps.
I was thinking with Garoppolo playing so well, they might go 4-0. So what would have happened, Kev? Yell it out. Brady would have started Game 5 anyway?
Yes.
No matter what Garoppolo had done?
Absolutely.
Sure?
Positive.
Are you relieved that this is not a quarterback controversy in a way?
A bit, yes.
See,
I don't think it would have been.
these sicko Patriot fans are actually, in a way, almost happy that Garoppolo hurt his shoulder, so now you don't have a quarterback controversy, right?
Right.
Right.
Sicko.
Sickos. Maybe I'm just a little upset about Boston in general, given that the Sox beat the Yankees 4 straight this weekend and knocked them right out of playoff contention. Sox, by the way, up 3 games in the division. And speaking of sports, Downtown 5K yesterday, always a terrific event, probably a little bit more tense and some more security based on this wise guy down in New York having allegedly put out some pipe bombs for a 5K Saturday in New Jersey. You got all sorts of video, don't you? Here's the winner. It's what I used to look like, by the way, in my day. Well, not quite as fast as these guys. Can you imagine these guys ran in that humidity yesterday and with an uphill finish? Here it is, the uphill finish. This guy, Ryan Hill, runs under 14 minutes for a 5K. The pace with which these guys run is just unbelievable. I mean, if you were sitting on the street and there's the female winner, is she like 15:40 or something like that? Pretty good, incredible. But the pace that these guys run, I mean, if you're actually standing on the street while they run by you, think, I can't even sprint that far and that fast, you know, for the 15 feet that you're watching. It's pretty good. It's a great event, CBS 5K. Most of you just kind of jogged around and ran it in 25 minutes, and good for you. All righty. And good for you if you've been paying attention to a lot of the education innovation going on in the state. The governor is, you know, doubling and tripling down with some of our taxpayer money on lots of innovation, and some people think it's actually a very good idea. We've got a headline here that talks about it. Education Innovation Month promotes great ideas, and One of the people that's involved in that is Dana Borrelli-Murray, who is the executive director of the Highlander Institute. Education innovation means what?
Education innovation to Rhode Island means seeding and investing in our education to be able to be the lab state for the country around what we can do for students in this new world.
The lab state?
I believe that Rhode Island is centrally located, perfectly set to be able to be the place that we can really showcase we already can showcase the great work that we're doing across the state in Rhode Island around education, but now the rest of the country can look at us and say, this is where I want to go and seed and try new things in the world of education.
So you think we're a laboratory. Are we a laboratory in present tense, or you think we can be a laboratory?
I think we're already on our way there, and we have as you already mentioned, the support from the governor's office to the innovation office, all the way down to classrooms and school leaders and district leaders across the state that are saying, come to Rhode Island. We know that there are lots of new things happening in the education space, that Rhode Island is the place to make sure that we are putting the right products, the right services, the right methods in front of our students, so that we're not learning that from somebody else.
There's always good work that goes on, even in the context of we're not getting it done feeling amongst the electorate. So there's kind of like a dichotomy, right? A lot of us think that we're not getting it done in education, while there's all sorts of education innovation going on. We'll try to intersect the two concepts when we come back. Steve. So on this concept of education innovation, Eyewitness News took a look at it with the governor.
The governor says the best thing Rhode Island can do to position itself for more job opportunities is to improve our public schools. In our one-on-one conversation with her, Governor Raimondo explains the pressure is on her administration and all of us.
I'm all in on education. It is the thing we need to do, and it's just fair.
Sitting in the governor's office, Gina Raimondo tells me fixing Rhode Island's economy means fixing the state's education system, but that we're already behind the 8 ball. For her, changing that course starts now in education, working toward empowerment schools, which are designed to give individual schools more autonomy. Providence, the state's largest local union representing educators, opposes this plan, but the General Assembly approved it earlier this year, allowing educators to build on specific programs, be it a career in technical education or a robotics program.
The whole point of it is to enable that sort of innovation and excellence, which gives meaning to the teachers' work and delivers a higher quality program for the kids.
For the first time, the PSAT and SAT are free in the Ocean State. That's on the list of improvements the governor touts, including all-day kindergarten, tripling the number of pre-K classrooms, and computer science programs statewide. For the governor and the commissioner of education, this is about access.
Not everyone even knows that they might be college material. What happens if you're an incredibly smart kid, but no one in your family's ever taken the SAT? You might not even know you have to take the SAT to have a chance to go to college. So it's about breaking down barriers.
But we also asked if this is a step toward making the SAT a graduation requirement.
There is a chance. I'm open to that, and I know that the commissioner is open to that, and we're looking at it.
Let's take that backwards. Do you believe that the SAT and/or mandatory testing is a good thing?
Oh, absolutely. We want to make sure that our students are prepared and ready for this new digital age, this very rapidly changing, complex world that students are going into.
That's not necessarily the answer to the question, though, right? I mean, the commissioner is kind of pulled back from the previous commissioner's disposition on what's required for graduation. What's your semi-outside view on that? I mean, you're inside the education world, but you're not working on behalf of, I mean, you're not paid by the taxpayer, correct?
No, I'm not.
Right. You're a nonprofit. So
our nonprofit is focused on supporting school systems to move towards a more personalized model for education.
Meaning?
This personalized model really allows every student to move at their own pace and their own approach to education. So with that means that we would move kids along based on showing mastery of concepts. So that mastery, part of showing mastery could be some sort of standardized summative test, but there's other ways to show mastery and lots of different strategies that teachers can approach this with. And our work at Highlander Institute really is to help people prepare in this sort of way by offering teachers new ways to think about their teaching and learning practices in the classroom, all the way up to district level leaders thinking about what school has to look like and how it can look different. So what we're doing under Eduvate RI is this concept of an education innovation cluster for Rhode Island. We're taking a lesson from the industry clusters for business, where you group a lot of like-minded businesses together, researchers, entrepreneurs, working together to try to solve an issue. And we are doing that in the education space in Rhode Island by bringing together the researchers, the nonprofits, the educators, the higher ed institutes, and the entrepreneurs and businesses to try to really see what do we need to do in order to prepare students for this digital age.
So well, that's a lot to digest.
We're actually going to be hosting in Rhode Island.
Yeah, Kev, put that up. Some of you folks on the big screen will be able to see some of this event. Go ahead and tell me what's
So
going on.
one of the first things we did was just a little elbow grease and some phone calls and pulled together all of the different things happening in Rhode Island just in September. Nothing was created for this calendar. It was already happening across the state. So we have this month of innovation to showcase all of the great work happening. We are also hosting in Rhode Island this week the National Education Innovation Cluster convening, which will be all of the education innovation clusters from around the U.S. are coming to Rhode Island for 3 days to learn from each other. So we can learn from the cluster in Silicon Valley, the cluster in Chicago, the cluster in Kentucky, and see what approaches and which ways of doing business can we do differently based on what we learn from each other.
So the cluster is defined as what again?
The cluster is really bringing together many different components of different stakeholders that are engaged in the education world.
Does each state have its formal cluster?
No, not really.
So
they're
how do you
really
know
forming
whether
informally.
Silicon Valley's cluster is legit or not? I mean,
We're keeping our eye on it, and a lot of it's coming from the U.S. Department of Ed and an organization called Digital Promise that's keeping their eye on what's happening across the country and what different groups are specializing in. But it wouldn't surprise people in the education space that Rhode Island is actually really leading the charge in a lot of this education innovation work.
People don't get that.
I think that people are starting to see that.
The general population, hears that we're behind. In fact, the lieutenant governor, who's a big education guy, along with the governor, they see eye to eye on most things. Seems to me, charter schools et al. Is actually running around the state right now, trying to talk to everybody about, on a case-by-case basis. If you take our high-achieving schools and you match them with Massachusetts high-achieving schools, we're getting our tails kicked in. So our low achievers versus their low achievers, this much space. Our high achievers versus their high achievers, this much space. And trying to wake up everybody to say, you know what, the complacency and the status quo aren't working. You agree?
Of course, I agree in components of that, but it's a complex issue that isn't as easy to dial down to just we should be better than Massachusetts. They're right across the border. In fact, we get phone calls every day from Massachusetts wanting to know how do we best personalize for students because they're looking at what's happening across Rhode Island.
You do, or the state
I
Board of
think all
Education
levels,
does?
from the Department of Ed to the Governor's Office to the Highlander Institute.
So you're saying that your expertise and the work that you're doing is stand out enough that even the high-achieving #1 Massachusetts is asking you for advice?
They absolutely are calling us and looking at Rhode Island as a place that is really well situated to be doing personalized learning on a broad, scalable level.
All right, when we come back, this personalized learning versus no child left behind, some of these concepts leave us all like, what does all this mean? Stay with us.
But it's more than just assuming that we want all these kids to take computer science jobs. One of the things that's really key that we keep talking about is this is about critical thinking. It's about problem solving, helping create a generation of problem solvers. We're going to be leaving ourselves out of the ability to solve problems in the future. So that's just critical for me.
That's the Rhode Island Innovation Officer who was hired under much hoopla and who's really been operating under the radar and who we need to get in here. Dana Borrelli Murray is from the Highlander Institute and the Executive Director. You're big on what he just talked about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Give
me a layman's breakdown of what he means.
So what Richard was just talking about is part of their initiative, this statewide initiative for computer science for Rhode Island, where we're trying to get computer science courses in every school across the state. Incredible opportunity for Rhode Islanders, really to set the pace and to do the right thing for kids. But our organization, and a little broader picture to this, is it's not just about every student learning how to code in computers. It's really about the idea of what is school about at this point? Why are we going to school? Why do we send students to school? And it's clearly not for content anymore, because all of the content in the world that you would want a student to learn is easily accessible. We have democratized education by making it something that kids can get on the internet, get from their phone. That what we are trying to do instead is to, in order to prepare students for this new world, which is very different than just the workforce a generation before, is to focus on those critical key skills of like critical thinking, collaboration, communication, creativity, and that's really what's setting the pace for what has to happen.
Listen, I want you to understand, I have no argument with any of this. It's all good stuff. General public is a little confused with some of the cliche stuff, you know. So personalizing, you know, having a personalized model for kids, you know, where we threw out No Child Left Behind, right? We threw that one, you know, that went behind, and you know, everyone had to get to the finish line somewhat, you know, collectively and comprehensively, and that's kind of not working anymore. Then we wanted to test living daylights out of them. Now we don't really want to do that anymore. Now we want a personal model, and we want to do that. Here's what I know. I talk to college kids when I visit with them. I talk to high school kids. They don't know how much money they need to make. They don't know how to survive in the world. They're like completely souped up on all these concepts, and they have no idea what it's going to take to rent a car, buy a car, rent a place, and actually live in the real world. Their civics understanding is at an all-time low. Their ability to comprehend how democracy and the government works and how their everyday lives are going to work, how to actually write a check if there is one by the time they're adults. Zero. -0. Terrible. So I appreciate all the good thinking, and I think it's great stuff, but I'd like some basic common sense, how to live your life type of stuff for everyday citizens who seem to be, the smarter we get, the dumber we get in some ways. Your thought on that?
I think that's a pretty incredible generalization. That's not really what I see. I see students that are...
You and I should go talk to a high school class.
I would love to do that.
You do your thing, and I'm sure you'll wow me. I'll be very impressed with what you have to say. And then I'll say, by the way, what do you want to do for a living? Oh, I want to be a guidance counselor.
Why should they know? The jobs of the future have not been created yet. They're going to be created by the students that are in school now.
A junior in high school shouldn't know what he wants to do in life?
I think that we're
How about a junior in
thinking
college?
of things a little differently. And actually, a lot of this innovation work happening in education has multiple sides, and one of the sides is around multiple pathways for students, so that there are, starting in high school, directions that kids can go in order to prepare them for these jobs.
Neither Dana or I actually thought we'd walk into a debate on this conversation. And we're out of time. So you'll come back, right?
Oh, please.
You're fired up now.
Please, I'm fired up now.
Honestly, she and I are going to make a visit together.
Good.
We'll be right back. Listen, there's a big program, a 54-hour straight program called what?
Startup Weekend EDU.
Startup Weekend EDU. You'll learn about it by looking at foxprovidence.com. We'll have all that information up. Dana wanted to make sure that you had that information. She also wants to duke me in the hallway, so we're going to have to regroup. She's like, I just think kids need to know what they're going to make when they get out. That's all, because then they can figure out what they should study. Just my thoughts. See you tomorrow. Bye.